Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today I want to talk about the situation regarding fanfiction in Russia. And obviously, as most people know, and it is known, LGBT sort of has been banned under the fact that it's propaganda and can be seen as sort of illegal pornography. And it has spread onto even fanfiction. So obviously, I even reported quite a while back that I saw that stuff like Wikipedia is getting really erased. A lot of gay icons, whether they were like from the Soviet times or from current times, just get their Wikipedia entries in Russia specifically like wiped out from anything obvious. And it was already quite hard, like growing up, to even know people which were like openly gay or bi, but you could still find like historical figures and stuff. Well, now everything's just wiped clean. And as if it wasn't alarming enough, Roskomnadzor, so sort of like the thing that overwatches the Russian internet, specifically like internal Russian internet stuff, has been really cracking down on Fic which is like an AO3, but a version of it in Russian. And I know it personally because I had back in the day people stealing my stuff and translating it into Russian, which was funny at the time for me because obviously I speak Russian and they thought they could get away with it. But anyway, what I wanted to say was Figbook did a stance where they said that, they will try to sort of limit LGBT stuff, and they limited, and they have been sort of going hand in hand with what the government is doing, and that they have obviously received a lot of criticisms about it. But I feel like we need to dig deeper at the facts. For instance, the recent situation of Alexandra Kizik, I think that's her surname, and the fact that she wrote some fan fiction about the Korean pop group Stray Kids, and she wrote it back in 2022. And a woman reported that she found this written fan fiction in her underage daughter's sort of computer, and she reported it to Roskomnadzor, and that led to Alexandra's arrest. And how to put this very politely, there is nothing wrong, there's nothing illegal about LGBT. And the fact that a parent is sort of rummaging through a child's computer or, a teenager's computer is already something of, parents should be policing kids in extreme situations and being aware of it rather than just limiting stuff like, oh, you can't read like LGBT fan fiction. This is where we need to be drawing lines, but obviously it doesn't matter in the case of Russia, and it doesn't matter like in general on a worldwide scale in the case of Russia, because obviously Russia has invaded Ukraine. Russia has been horrible to LGBT citizens, has been horrible to people who speak against the government. Russia has been horrible to people who are opposed to the government. And I'm not saying that like I liked Navalny or something, right? Because he had his faults. But another thing is sort of to be cracking down any opposition, any hints of opposition even. And when it comes to the LGBT laws, it is very strange to me because back in the day, Russia sort of positioned themselves like, like when Tattoo was big, like, oh yeah, we're more progressive than America, we're more progressive than this and that. And there's this whole thing, and like there are certain channels which talk about it really well. That sort of Russians really pose to this thing that if you don't like it in Russia, you can move to the USA or you can accept like a different country to move to, and then you'll see how actually bad it is and it's actually good in Russia. These things still affect me because obviously like my ancestors are from there, and being gay and being trans, I just don't understand sort of the hatred for it and sort of labeling everything as pornography. And even when we sort of position sort of Russia and the US, they're both going for this horrendously conservative, oppressive arc where they're both hating LGBT and they both sort of say different things like the other one is bad because they're too progressive and vice versa. And Russia has been doing stuff like advocating that they're an LGBT free country, and Americans have been moving there because they want to like escape the gay agenda and stuff like that. And I'm digressing a bit, but what I wanted to say is that a work of art, a work of literature, has nothing wrong with it. It is not advocating for something illegal, like homosexuality is normal. Writing a book about, or some some short stories, some long form about a band's being cuddly with one another, being in a relationship, has nothing criminal to do with it. I don't even know how to even digest that. But we have to understand that this sort of idea that LGBT is bad is going into such an insane sort of monstrosity level, this sort of hatred is going that people are raiding their children's computers and then reporting it. It just doesn't make any sense. Like it makes sense that the government propaganda is working and stuff. Because I have all my experiences. I grew up in Eastern Europe. I know how bad it is to grow up, and fan fiction specifically was such a massive beacon for me of hope to understand myself and to think that, like, instead of me discovering myself, my mother would sort of like raid my computer and then report me to the government just sounds insane. And I understand that how to put this now with all the noise, parents hear this and they're like, yeah, I don't want to lose like my child. I'll report that to the government. But this, you shouldn't be reporting something normal to the government. And if you're saying certain things like LGBT was okay like a few years back and then you backtracked, maybe think, why are you backtracking? What is happening? What is this bizarre law that is happening? I don't know. Like the problem is like I sit down and like sometimes I try to think like what am I supposed to say for a video? And I don't know like sort of which arguments to say because it's like there's nothing wrong with being gay, there's nothing wrong with being trans, but people still find an issue with it. And this wasn't the only situation as well. And people denunciate over different fanfics and fic as well. And this is not the first case. And there has been insane prosecution against Figbook. There has been insane prosecution against LGBT people. So, for instance, if someone wrote fanfiction before, or like Exmo was a big Russian publisher, like even back when I was reading stuff mostly in Russian, and they, for instance, bought a magazine which had some LGBT articles in the past, and then their back catalog, and they got fined. People are getting fined for selling fan fiction. People are getting fined for distributing LGBT fan fiction, and this is just like any other romance, just like any other genre. But obviously, because the propaganda machine works this way, and it is better to oppress LGBT people in the government's heads. This is what we're getting. And yeah, I'm sorry. I know I diverted a bit. Just been really tired. And obviously, all this news doesn't excite me in any way. And it is very difficult to sort of detach myself personally from it as well. So I wanted to report that because I did a video on the Wikipedia back in the day, and now obviously now on Facebook that they're not allowing any LGBT stuff, and there's sort of kind of hands in hands reporting and ish on whether someone is writing LGBT stuff, they can leak data and stuff like that, and that is absolutely disgusting, obviously. But again, like all these claims, like it's very difficult to understand like what is actually happening, what is being blown out of proportion, what is actually happening. And also like at the end of the day, Russia's a very, very corrupt country. So it's how much money you have, how much connections you have mean that, you can access something with a VPN and you won't get bothered through it. And that's the issue. The issue is like where are you on the social ladder, and who who are the people who can vouch for you, and then you can be as gay as you want in behind closed doors at the moment. I mean, you look at the celebs and that's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry I know I diverted a bit. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a like. Obviously, I want some awareness on the issue. And thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, feel free to leave a like, and feel free to subscribe. Thank you.